Welcome back, everyone. So, picture the scene. It's 1996. Mike Tyson has just had a very important fight in his career, and the famous rapper Tupac Shakur was in attendance. At that show, he ran into some people that he had had beef with in the past, and they did get into a physical fight. But everybody left that altercation unharmed, and he got into a car with a famous rap producer called Suge Knight, and they drove away from the concert. As they were pulled up at some traffic lights, a white Cadillac pulled alongside their car. Someone pulled out a gun and shot into their car, shooting Tupac in the head. Suge Knight was unharmed. He drives quickly to the hospital. Tupac was still alive. He seemed like he might be okay. He was talking, but he refused to say anything to the police when asked who shot him. The entourage, the sort of group of people that were also surrounding Tupac, they also refused to say anything to the police. But that was fairly common at the time. Tupac was pretty outspoken. He did not trust the police. He would speak out against their sort of racist bias against black people in his music and in his interviews and so on. So he didn't say that. But then, unfortunately, he died of his injuries. So if he did have any idea about who shot him, we'll never know. So conspiracy theories abounded. Was it someone connected to that sort of rival that he'd had a fight with earlier? Was it connected to Biggie Smalls, who is a fellow rapper of the same era, who they would constantly sort of have beef with each other in their rap lyrics, but Biggie denied it. He said, it wasn't that serious. I would never do anything like that. But then he himself was killed in a drive-by shooting not that long later, which some people thought maybe was a revenge attack for what happened to Tupac. Other people thought maybe it was Suge Knight, the guy who was driving the car. Strangely, when the drive-by shooting happened, he was unharmed. Why didn't the guy want to kill both of them? He could easily have done that, but he didn't. Were his entourage somehow connected because they all kept their silence? Were the police involved? Were they annoyed with Tupac because he was speaking out against them and their racist behavior? So many conspiracies. Some people even believe he didn't actually die. Okay. That just like Elvis and possibly Bruce Lee, he's gone into hiding. Maybe Michael Jackson as well. They're all together somewhere pretending to be dead.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Oof.
But it's a cold case. Nobody has ever come to any serious conclusion with any proof or evidence.
Yeah, we're not going to get closure. When I saw this article, I was like, oh, maybe they found something new. No, there's no closure here.
Yes. I guess, but his rap career was only 5 years long, but people are still listening to his music, calling him the greatest rapper of all time or the most influential rapper of all time. And he still gets played and talked about and discussed, even here in our articles.
Yeah.
What are we, 1996, so we're now...
Almost 30 years later.
Nearly 30 years later. Still an influence on us.
Yeah.
God bless you, Tupac.
Nothing against any of these people at all. I'm just, as a thought, I wonder how famous he would be if he didn't die.
Well, that's a wise thought. People who've died young, like Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse,
the 27
the
Club?
27 Club, Jimi Hendrix. People wonder if because they died young.
Yeah, posthumous fame does seem to be a big thing too. Do you listen to some old school music?
Oh, all the time. I am old school. I am old. Yeah, that's my era. That's my generation. I listen to old school all the time.
When I saw this question, I was like, I listened to the music of my day, which is now old school. Yep. I was like, oh, yay! Can't you wait until the stuff we listen to is called classic music?
Oh yes, when we're old and grey and talking, teaching English.
WAP is classic.
Yes. We'll be talking about our youth. Can you think of any other sort of cold cases involving famous people, maybe famous Americans, that people are still talking about today?
Yeah, like some of the bigger ones are like Zodiac Killer, D.B. Cooper. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but I think it's JonBenet Ramsey. Ramsey. Anyways,
JonBenet Ramsey.
yeah, that was a weird case, and they couldn't figure out what happened. Rumors abounded, still do, I'm sure. I wonder if they have ever gone back with like DNA testing or anything. But yeah, that was weird. She was a child that was very brutally murdered in her own home after the parents thought that she was abducted. And she was found later in the basement of the home, and they were like, "Who done it?" And they don't know. Yeah, that's a weird one. Yeah. There's some weird cold cases out there. It's a big subject, and you can dive into it as deep as you want.
Oh yeah, on YouTube, there's a whole industry talking about this and theorizing.
As well, there should be.
So don't go straight to YouTube and Google cold cases just yet. Take a look at the vocabulary, learn it, try to use it, and maybe you'll discover it in those YouTube videos. And then you can understand what they're saying even better. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Behind bars.
Behind bars.
Cold case.
Cold case.
Entourage.
Entourage.
Snitch.
Snitch.
Tempt fate.
Tempt fate.